What's up, everyone? Welcome to my corner of the internet. Hey, everyone, welcome to another episode. I should say episodes or live on the scene here with Crossover Commerce. I'm your host, Ryan Cramer, and this is my event of the internet, or I say corner of the internet, as everyone typically sees us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. But we're here live on scene, and I have Michael Mayer of Cartology, right? Cartology. What? Oh, hold on. Cartology, right? What? No.
Television?
No, your company. We're introducing you.
Oh, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? What's your company?
Now I can hear you more.
Well, I'm gonna yell in the mic. Everyone, this is the first time we're doing this on scene. So if you see a lot of weird looks in the background, if you're joining us in on YouTube, I'm gonna throw the link on later. But we're recording this, and this is live. So we're gonna say, tell us where you're from. You're a friend of the show. But we ran into each other a few hours ago.
Yeah, I was just in Cincinnati a couple hours ago. My name is Michael. What? Yeah, I flew in this morning.
Okay.
Flight was at 6, got in about 8, so I had to get up at about 3:30. And my daughter said, "Hey, will you wake me up before you go?" And my wife was like, "No." And I said, "Well, I did it last time when I flew out to. I was just at another show in Bend, Oregon, with Chris McCabe.
Right. Seller Velocity.
Seller Velocity. Yep. And so I woke her up before I left, and she liked that. Helped her not to miss me as much. I'm a missable guy, you know.
That's nice.
But anyway, my name is Michael Maher, and I run an Amazon agency that is working specifically with brands and just helping them to achieve growth, but also profitability on Amazon.
That's awesome. Well, and you've been on Crossover Commerce a couple times, but it's nice to see people in person. We didn't do this live at Prosper for many reasons.
Yes, we were gonna do it live at Prosper, but you know what's funny is I brought all my podcast equipment and just never ended up using it. And I was like, oh well, at least I had stuff there.
At least I know I can travel with it, and that's the.
At least I know I'm capable of traveling. Did you have this current setup with you?
So this current setup, people can't see this live right now, but when it comes to this setup, I bought this all within last week. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little loud.
Where did you buy it?
On Amazon.
Go figure.
Go figure.
So you and I were talking about events like this and people going to them and like how effective are they? And I think it probably depends upon who you are and what your goal is. If you set no goal going into any one of these shows, I think you're likely to be disappointed. My goal as an agency owner is to connect with people, maybe not even necessarily sellers, but to connect with people who I can form partnerships with, and someone like yourself, or find a service like it at Prosper. I met a company called Z. I hung out with some of those people. I think they're here exhibiting today too.
They are here.
But that was a game-changing solution for us, and so we've yet to integrate it, but it's going to be a game changer for us when it comes to getting our clients cross-border. We set up their payment accounts with Ping Pong, get them through. We can find account managers at Amazon on the other side through some of the new seller success team people that we're working with, and boom, we're up and running. So it's about meeting like partnerships like that. I'd say also reconnecting with like someone like yourself. I've seen you now twice.
It took a couple times in
the
person
past
now.
2 or 3 months. Yeah, and I've known you for probably a year or two.
A year and a half, yeah, almost so.
So, I mean, building those relationships for me, having a booth for me as a smaller boutique agency doesn't really make sense. I just want to go and talk with people. I want to connect. That's where it's at for me. But for a service provider such as yourself, and you've got people saying, hey, have you heard of Ping Pong?
So what was the goals? Like, what was your main ask, I guess, at the show? Is it, like you said, those partnerships? For us, it's obviously meeting sellers in this community, and for everyone who's tuning in live, people who are, I think the statistic is #1 zip code for Amazon sellers per capita.
Yeah, Brooklyn has a very high percentage of top 10% or top 1% sellers.
It's very high. So sellers who are doing international business there in multiple marketplaces, do you feel like it's easy to meet with sellers, or is it more like the service base? Go find people to support your own business.
Say that again.
So for the people, are you connected with lots of sellers or more service providers? What's kind of do you prefer as an agency, I guess?
Yeah, I think for a conference like this, it's very dominated towards sellers, which is good. So sellers get a lot of great information about how to run their business. I think service providers such as yourself have an opportunity to, spread the love in terms of the brand and get more usage out of your solution. I think it's also a great place for any kind of VC companies, aggregators, whatever you want to call them, looking for sellers who are interested in selling and kind of getting that process rolling, getting the ball rolling on that. I think it's a great opportunity there. And for me, so when you look at Amazon, there's this circle,
Right.
and it's all the goods that are on Amazon. And then on that, there's this bubble. And on that bubble are all the brands that supply product into Amazon.
Yep.
And then service providers are a bubble on both bubbles. So they're helping bridge the gap between the brands that are selling products, the sellers that are selling products, and Amazon. And so we're kind of like a leech on two different sectors, I guess, if you want to look at it that way, and a leech in a positive way, in that we're leeching success. I don't think anybody says that, but let's start the trend.
Let's start the trend with that.
But it's an opportunity for me to make partnerships and find people who maybe they need help, or maybe they don't have a fix for a certain area. One of the best ways that we've grown, Cartology's grown our agency, is by saying, hey, you don't do this well we can help. Oh, and you do this thing really well, we can utilize that for ourselves as well. So like a great example would be like a software reimbursement company. Right. We offer that as a part of our services, but what we offer is a connection to our partner, which is Refund Sniper. So we bring them in, they do all the heavy lifting, and then take their percentage, of the money that they collect. But it's a service that our brand would otherwise not know of if they didn't work with us.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's about building partnerships, and maybe we find some sellers that we end up working with. But most of the time, it's about partnerships and about being the face of my brand. I mean, that's something that several years ago on LinkedIn, when I was putting out content, and I realized, man, all these people are doing video. I'm like, I'm good working a room, I'm good working a crowd, but being the face of my own brand and being on video, I wasn't super comfortable with that.
Yeah, it's a whole different level.
It really is. And so I just stepped out and said, I'm going to do it. And guess what? First 6 months or so just sucked. And go back and look at old videos of me from 2019. They were terrible, but I got better. And fortunately, the site was still evolving. So I had an opportunity to evolve with it, and the content got better. And I've had people now say, man, you look so natural when you're on camera, when you're talking. I said, yeah, it's
a muscle.
It's years of looking into a camera and saying, I can create excitement and enthusiasm. I don't need another person on the other end to do that.
Well, it's a muscle that when I look back at my first episodes, it's cringeworthy in terms of.
But like everybody starts there.
Everyone starts that way. Like any speaker
maybe not everybody. Maybe some people start off with they might have a little bit more aptitude towards being good at being on camera. But how many people here have taken acting classes or have taken voiceover classes? You know what I mean?
Not voiceover lessons.
There's not many people that have done that, so it really just requires experience. I would also say this though: finding mentors or people who put out good content and say, "What do you think about this?" and removing your pride and being okay with what they say. Hey, you know what? You're really dry. You need to loosen it up a little bit because that's how your personality is. Or, hey, you're being a little bit too goofy and you're really more of a serious person when it comes to your brand. It's all about brand. So like, what is your brand? My brand is knowledgeable. My brand is a little bit quirky. I like to have fun, but I take the work. I love the work and I enjoy doing it and I want to do it well. So I want to get results. So it's all about what your brand is supposed to present. So get people to give you feedback on that, and you're likely to get some negative feedback, but utilize it.
Do you feel like a lot of people, in terms of when they're working with a person like yourself who is very much the face of the brand, do they look at you as a person and the job that you're going to do based upon your characteristics and personality? Do you feel like does someone say like you're a guy who doesn't take it too seriously, or you're a guy who is I don't know, doesn't get my point of view, and then I won't work with you because of it, even though you can take my business to the next level? Does that come across?
So I think if I'm paraphrasing well, you're saying, do people think, your personality is kind of how...
Do they reflect? Yeah. Does that reflect your business?
So I have been very intentional about making sure that who I am as a person and as the agency owner is different than the actual brand itself. And the brand Cartology has to stand on its own. So I am, the lead magnet, I guess you could say. At times I need to come up with other ones, for creating an email list and things like that. The practitioner who doesn't have everything all together, go figure. But
What's a learning experience?
I have been very intentional about showcasing, like, we know our stuff. If you look at the literature that we put out or our brand deck or any proposals, the facts are there. My job is to get people on the phone and just be authentic with them. So if they say, hey, this guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about, he's a decent human to interact with, I don't have a problem. I don't feel like I'm going to have a problem getting along with him. That's my goal. And part of what I've had to be better at is in discovery calls, determine, is this person going to be a good fit for who I am and how we work? Because maybe all they're saying is, man, we want 100% growth month over month, every month, grow. We're not your company. And it's not because we can't get you that growth. It's that more than likely, one, you can't handle that growth because you don't have the capital or you don't have the capability to put up inventory, to put up capital for inventory or advertising costs or whatever the case might be. I might have repeated myself. It's quite loud in here. But
that's why we're playing around. If everyone keeps me, I'm pressing buttons and Michael can't hear me, but I can hear everything going on.
I like pressing buttons. That's fun as well.
I'm gonna look like I'm just holding a random microphone, like right here, and make sure that I'm talking to you.
But the growth only mindset is focused on how nothing will ever be enough, in my opinion. So if it's just growth, you have to be profitable at some point. And people don't like to slow down growth for profitability. The profitability is what actually pays your bills. So that's why I say we help brands to grow and become profitable on Amazon. That's one of the main goals. Now, we often tell people first 3 to 6 months, don't expect to be profitable. That scares them away.
Is that starting or is that building up over time?
If you're brand new to the marketplace, I'd say 3 to 6 months.
Is that mix for you a lot more like, hey, we've been around a little while, we just need to take it to the next level? I've never asked you that.
You're saying if someone's been on the marketplace for a while?
They've been selling for a year and a half or something like that.
So I would say it just depends upon how deep they want to go. If they're like, yeah, we want to do kind of an initial 90, 120-day boost, we might invest a ton in advertising knowing that, and there's going to be an increased need for inventory, and we're going to know that it's going to have to be funded, or maybe it's break even because there's cash in the business already, but it's not going to be high profitability because there's going to be a lot that's going to be invested in advertising that's going to need to come back for inventory as well. So we'll tell them, hey, it's going to be a significant investment, and we've put together some rough models of here's how much it's going to cost you to get to break even.
Yeah.
So not to actually earn that profitability back that you've quote unquote lost, but here's where it's going to take you to get to break even. And it's a crude model, but it gets people an understanding of, okay, it's going to take 4 months. It's going to take 6 months. Because a lot of people, it's very, very rare that brands that we talk with, when we consult with them or we have a discovery call, it's very rare that they are profitable or are very profitable. They're oftentimes not profitable, and they're like, when are we going to get past this?
What's the first place you look that you can almost more often than not fix them right away? Is that an easy place you look, or is there like a starting place that you look right away?
I tend to go towards advertising and say, what are you doing in advertising? Is it effective? We've gone into some brands that, we've unfortunate for these clients, but fortunately for us, they've been unhappy with their previous service provider. And so they've said, hey, we're looking for someone else. And we go in and audit the account and see that they've been spending a ton of money on ads, but they aren't getting a good return. So that's one place where I'm like, okay, you're dumping. I mean, I've seen people dump $200,000 a month and get a 0.3 return. So that's pretty terrible. And it's not, that's an extreme. You know, a lot of people are maybe spending $3,000 and, you know, they've got a 0.75 return or a 0.5 return.
Yeah.
But that can be fixed. And honestly, I think the other thing is that is becoming increasingly more important, and they kind of they really do go hand in hand, is the content, and more importantly, the media assets. Everyone's shopping on mobile, and by everyone, I mean 70% of people. And now with new search query performance, some people are saying 80, 90%, and the rest of it's desktop. But that desktop traffic also accounts for bots that are crawling the page, like keyword research software that's looking for information, software that tracks
third-party software,
other data, things like that. Yeah. So majority of people are shopping mobile. What they're seeing right away is media assets. If your media assets suck, I don't care how great your advertising is, it's always going to be poor.
So what about this? Do you get a sense of like where the industry goes on an event like this? Of, hey, maybe that's a good idea. Like, I didn't think that was a gap in the market. This kind of like vendors that are lining in this hall, people are going to be more, hey, that's a good idea. I didn't realize that was a solution, or I do have that problem. Do you get ideas of, I didn't even think about that market or that gap stop? Does that make sense of, maybe we need to start exploring that option more?
You know what? I've looked at, you know, I don't claim to know or have all the answers.
Yeah.
And my team is I tell clients that we take on our prospects, like, we want to do referral quality work. So if we want to do a great job so that when we hit these 3 targets that we've set out in front, I want to come back to you and say, hey, did we hit these targets? Yes, great. Where are the 3 people that you're going to refer to us? And that's one of the ways we've been able to grow our business, because we've been authentic and because we've been able to live up to what we said we would do. Now, there are times we haven't done that, and typically it's because someone ran out of cash or someone was very difficult to work with and they didn't listen to what we said, and we had to part ways because there was no way that the relationship was going to work. But I'm constantly learning from other service providers, hearing them say, hey, I did this thing. I was just in there listening to Danny McMillan and hearing him talk about, I said his name right?
Yep. Danny was talking about his A9 algorithm. Yep.
Yeah, talking about the algorithm, and I love that he debunked the A10.
I said his A9 algorithm.
Well, whatever.
It's not his. Amazon's A9 algorithm.
It's proprietary, but
right.
The quote-unquote A10 algorithm that people talk about, that's not real. But I learned a couple things when I was in there, and I thought, okay, I need to do a little bit more digging on the algorithm and find some of the science so that we can speak intelligently to our prospects. So I think what you were saying is, when we look at new prospects and say, oh, I never thought about doing something this way, there's something that we think about all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just connecting with a new software provider, and they're saying, oh, well, we can connect you with influencers, or we can get you access to tracking post data, Amazon post data, or whatever the case might be. Then I say, oh, well, now that we know that that's possible, here's what we should do. Right. And we can have a different plan of attack.
That's awesome. I love that. Well, Michael, thank you so much for just sitting down a little bit with us. I know you're going to walk the floor.
It's been a pleasure to sit in front of you.
And sit in front of me in person and do this. This is difficult in person now. Typically, I'm through a screen. I'm just staring at a screen and listening intently. But, man, there's so much traffic around us.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic.
And for people who are tuning in live.
And there was a plate that dropped, or someone dropped something.
I almost want to yell Opa right here live on air, but
close. Greek wedding.
Not Greek. Yeah.
We're not, Orthodox Jew is the
Orthodox Jewish community here. Not
or Hasidic
Jewish community. So it's a little bit.
But Opa, if you yelled Opa, I would yell it with you. That'd be funny.
That'll be a celebration for sure. So hey, thank you so much for hopping on Crossover Commerce, and everyone, we'll bring you as much content as we can today as more people sit down here on Crossover Commerce. But other than that, take care. We'll take you guys later.